Hey, what's up guys? John here. They are proposing right now to ban foreclosures throughout 2021. So think about this. No foreclosures in 2020, none in 2021, no evictions in 2020, none in 2021 most likely. And what we're gonna see now is the loss of millions and millions and millions of jobs throughout America for our safety. This is going to equate to a massive loss in freedoms, property rights, and really independence. It's going to be at a level that people can't even comprehend. In this video, I'm going to lay out what I think is going to happen step by step to educate you, to get you ready, prepared, so you can invest and make smart decisions. Because if you invest well in the next few years, you'll be in a completely different space than someone else who is kind of living in a world where they think everything is perfect, which unfortunately that's a lot of people right now. They think that this is just normal. Economies work when we don't work. That's not true. Now in this video, I'm gonna lay out what's gonna happen. So please smash that like button. Help me share this video. When you hit the like button, YouTube is gonna be more likely to share this content to educate more people and teach more people. So that being said, hit that like button. Let's begin. Take a look at this article. It says the feds propose prohibiting US foreclosures until 2022. 2022. So we're only now just 4 months into 2021. So we have another 8 months till 2022. And we ask ourselves, would they really put women and children out on the street dead of winter in January? Probably not. In February? Probably not. Maybe this spring. So what would that be? Another year? Prohibiting foreclosures for another year. Think about all the people that are going to slip and fall into foreclosure during this period. Everyone's going to say, hey, I don't have to pay my mortgage right now. I'm not going to pay. And then it's going to be like what happens with most kids when they get a credit card with 0% interest for the first 12 months. They rack up a big bill, and then at the end, they say, I'm going to try to pay it at the end, and I won't pay any interest, and they can't pay it off, and then they end up in a really bad spot. So we look at this. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on Monday proposed banning foreclosure until 2022 as many families risk losing their homes as federal protections during the pandemic expire. It says over 3 million people behind in their mortgage payments, around 2.1 million are at least 90 days behind. 2.1 million 90 days behind. That's nothing until you look at the actual rental market. The rental market, it is disturbing with what we see happening in this rental market. An estimated 30 to 40 million renters could be evicted. But when was this article? Was this last week? No, this was roughly a year ago, August 7th. August 7th, 30 to 40 million. So there's 100,800,000 total renters in America. Between 28.9 million and 39.9 million renters are at risk. Only 60 to 72 million are safe. 60 to 72 million. What does that mean? That means roughly 30% of renters, give or take, are at a big risk of not having a place to live. So when we take a look at what's happening with the housing market and the rental market, we're not hearing about these things. We're seeing really high pricing for homes, and rents aren't really being impacted so much. And it's all because of this game of musical chairs that Big Brother is playing right now. The problem is, once they turn off the music, then we're really going to see what's really happening. And this is going to lead to a massive problem that we're building out into. But it's going to be a tsunami. In the beginning, it was going to be a smaller problem. You know, the first time they pushed it out, small problem we could possibly fix. Now we're going to be having 2 years worth of pre-foreclosures and evictions. Think about all these mom and pop landlords right now that are barely hanging on, that have not filed for forbearance or are in foreclosure. I mean, all these people, they are not going to be able to weather this storm. And so when we look at these numbers, so we have 3 million homes in forbearance. We have 1 in 5 renters not paying rent. When we put this on a national scale throughout America, what's going to ultimately happen is that we're going to have an affordability crisis. People aren't going to be able to afford rents that they were paying in 2018 and 2019. So if rents drop, say 20% or 30%, what happens to the landlords? The landlords that bought buildings over the last 5 and 10 years. These landlords are going to be in real big trouble, many of which may lose their properties. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, John, rents are not going to drop that much. We are stepping into a world of automation, AI, robotics. It sounds crazy, but you look at stuff like this. This machine can build houses. If it can build houses, they have machines that can build houses. They can have machines that can basically do anything. You look at a Tesla factory. Tesla's car, those cars are built and put together by robotics. You go into an Amazon warehouse. A lot of the packages move throughout that entire warehouse. Once it's off the truck and once it's repositioned to the warehouse, everything is done robotics. So some of these warehouses will have 1 or 2 staff. They'll have 200 or 300 of these robotic machines moving throughout the floor. So we start looking at this. What is likely going to happen is we're going to be stepping into a world where a universal basic income is a probability. It's more than likely going to happen, because how else are we going to be able to survive in a world where the average American reads at a 7th grade level, and these robotic machines, we're moving into a 1% type of world. And now the middle class is going to get evaporated, all due to these shutdowns, the forbearances, the eviction moratoriums. All this stuff was really just set the stage for what is actually going to happen, which is now going to be the loss of freedoms. Because once we depend on Big Brother or anyone for checks, we no longer have that freedom. If you have to ask someone else for permission or ask someone else to do something for you, that means that person has authority and control over you, not the other way around. So these machines, this is where we're heading right now. I do have to give them credit with how they've structured this movement. Now with this Stop Asian Hate and the BLM and the defund the police, all this stuff, if you really just take a step back and forget what the mainstream media is telling you, take a step back and look what this says dead in its eye. It says division. It says don't trust someone else based on how they look or how they identify or what color skin tone they have. All it is divide and conquer, divide and conquer. Now in New York, they're rolling out this new DigiDog. It's a robotic dog that tracks and traces, and it basically absorbs any bit of privacy that you have. So how can you solve racism? Well, you can solve it with robotics, because they are not looking at your skin tone. They're simply looking at your actions. So for you to not be judged and profiled, you bring in robotics. And that's what they're slowly starting to do. They're going to roll out robotics to solve racism, to solve all of our problems. And before you know it, they're going to have a big chunk of our freedoms resting in their palms. And we'll be sitting there wondering, how did all this happen? Well, it's because we're listening to the media and paying attention to every single thing that they say. And we don't realize that it's just propaganda there to rip apart and destroy our lives. And then look at this article. It says, management consultant giant PricewaterhouseCoopers reported AI, robotics, and other forms of smart automation have the potential to bring great economic benefits, contributing up to $15 trillion to global GDP by 2030. However, it will come with a high human cost. This extra wealth will also generate the demand for many jobs, but there are also concerns that it could displace many existing jobs. Big tech is the big winner here with the real estate crash, and here's why. Mom and pop businesses are now forced to go online and advertise on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. They're forced to advertise here. Now what's going to happen is there's going to be more and more people fighting to get in front of customers, increasing the cost of ad spend. Ultimately, it's only going to be a game for corporations and big companies that can afford to get in front of these companies long term. I think the cost of advertising is going to go through the roof. So mom and pop businesses are going to be in big trouble. Real estate is going to be in big trouble. Big tech is going to be sitting in billions and billions of dollars. They're going to run out there, buy these storefronts, repurpose them, and they're going to run their businesses with self-driving vehicles. You think I'm kidding? Look at Google's self-driving vehicle right now. And this self-driving vehicle will have delivery with this vehicle, selling products at a cheaper rate than anyone can imagine, anyone can compete with profitably. It'll be like having an Amazon in your neighborhood where they're delivering food like this, they're delivering everything you need for your safety, and ultimately they end up buying everyone's properties for pennies on the dollar. So they're going to own the houses, they're going to own the retail, and they're going to basically just own everything, all the data, all the information. So we're stepping into this type of world right now, and people just think that this is 2015, everything is great. It's just not the case. This isn't the world that we really live in. We're living in an illusion right now. And when this really gets exposed, people are going to be in real shock. So here's my advice to people that are aware of what's really happening right now. Get ready, be ready, because this change that's coming is going to break a lot of people. So how do you get ready? Well, you want to own your own freedom. So if you can buy your own property, ideally some type of rental property, something you can draw in some passive income. It's not going to be the passive income you're expecting now, because I think rents are going to plummet and I think wages are going to fall a lot, but something to build out some level of security. So just be smart and strategic. I think building a business online right now is probably one of the smartest things you can possibly do, just because they can't shut it down at the level that they can with stores and restaurants and things. I know people think that everything is opening back up in Florida and Texas, but that might not be forever. They're already talking about new potential threats, and if that happens again and we close back down again, you just don't want to put yourself in that position. What we've realized throughout this entire situation the last 2 years, or last year and a half, is that we are not as stable as we once thought, and they have a lot more power to come in and have an impact on your business. So make very smart decisions, play for the long run, and really look at what's happening. Really look at what's happening. Don't listen to the drama on social media and what the media is saying. Really pay attention and think the next 20, 30, 40 years out, so that way you can build out that level of security for yourself, your family, if you have children, for them as well, so they don't have to compete in this technocratic world. But it's really about playing the long game right now and making smart decisions. With that being said, please smash that like button, help me share this content, and consider subscribing for more content on personal finance, real estate, business, and of course, money. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Hey, if you'd like to learn how to get started on YouTube, click the link in my bio. It's a free live training. And if you'd like to learn how to invest in cash flowing multifamily real estate for beginners, there's a link there as well. All right, guys.